All right, so we're starting in the next 4 minutes. So please mm, do do well to share the link to this program to your friends so they can join us before we start. Also, as you are joining, make sure to mute your mic. Make sure to mute your mic. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Oh God. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so we'll be kickstarting in the next 2 minutes. So please stay with us. Stay with us and do well to share the link to this program to your friends. Oh. All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you so very much for joining us today. Thank you for joining us today. And welcome back for the day 2 of our webinar series on empowering future leaders, building skills for leadership, workshop success, and community impact. My name is Odi Joshua, and I am the assistant team lead of YALI Network, OGUN State, Tasued chapter. Yes, I had the privilege to moderate this program yesterday's session, and I'm excited to continue with you all today. Right. Yesterday we explored a lot of things. We explored leadership and academic excellence, and it was truly an impactful experience. And today our focus shifts to workshop skills and community impacts, which are vital for thriving as leaders and change makers. Thank you for being here again, and let's make today just as impactful as yesterday's. Please make sure to mute your mic as you join us and stay with us. Make sure to send the link of this program, this Zoom meeting, to your friends so they will join us. Yes, please do. You're welcome. You're welcome. I can see people are joining. Mr. Damilola Awunuga, you're welcome. Mr. Peter Obilakin, you're welcome. You're welcome. Everybody, you're welcome. Okay. So a quick review on yesterday's session. Let's take a quick look at what we covered yesterday. We explored the strategies for academic excellence led by Mr. Abdulatif Adedeji. Yes. And we learned a lot. We got a lot of insights from what he taught us, what he showed us yesterday, including his story. Please make sure to mute your mic. Please make sure to mute your mic as you join us. Oh God. Sorry. Make sure to mute your mic as you join us. Thank you. So we explored a lot of things yesterday, including how to set your goals. Mr. Abdulatif taught us. He showed us things. Destination determines direction. I think I caught that. Yes. Then he showed us how we can get to our destination, how to set smart goals and create a plan for action to achieve the goals. He also told us to believe in ourselves. Yes, very importantly, believe in yourself. And then he furthermore told us and told us plenty other things. Yes. All right. Um, I'm very certain we have people here from yesterday. So I would love some persons. If you have something to say about yesterday, I would love you to just tell us one or two things you learned from yesterday. You can recall from yesterday. So please, if you want to say something, you can raise your hand and I call you, or you drop it in the chat box. Please, let's be quick with that. Let's be quick with that. Either from Mr. Ifeoluwa or from Mr. Abdulatif Adedeji. Anyone, please. You can drop it in the comment section. You can raise your hand. All right, Mr. Peter Obilakin, I'm unmuting your mic right now.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening,
thanks so much.
sir.
Thanks for this program. I really appreciate. Yesterday, I learned from Mr. Iviolua's speech yesterday that even if you are not leading anyone, you are leading yourself. So even if you say that, okay, you are not a leader, just say that, okay, oh, you are a leader of yourself. And everything he said yesterday about the body system and his analysis is very well impactful, and I really appreciate, and I look forward to learn more today. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you so very much for that. At least if you are not leading anybody, you are leading yourself. You are a leader. You are born leader. Yes, he said something about we are all born leaders. So please, if you have something else to say, who is coming up next? Who is coming up next? You can raise your hand, or you can drop it in the chat box. So we have a quick one with that. And then I can still remember Mr. Ifelua went further to show us the tips of a true leader or leadership tips using the body structure as an example, I would say, as a specimen. Please, if you have something to say, do well to raise your hand. I will call you, or you can drop it in the comment section, in the chat box rather. Anyone? So he talked about the brain, eyes, ears, eyes for vision and foresight, ears for listening and feedbacks, mouths. There are some fascinating quotes or things he said yesterday that I find so thrilling. He said you cannot do it alone. That is, you need people. Whatever goal you have, you cannot do it alone. He said something about should hear positive. Yes, hear positive. Train yourself to hear positive. Yes. Also, he said something about you having to execute your ideas. Don't waste time on them. You just have to execute them as soon as they get into your head. Just execute them. Who else has something to say? Maybe something you remember and you find interesting about yesterday. All right. Anyone? Okay, since we have no one, we are going to dive right into the business of today. Now, we'll move to our first session for today, workplace skills for tomorrow's leaders. It will be facilitated by Mr. Daniel Adeola, a seasoned professional in leadership and career development. Mr. Daniel Adeola is a growth marketing specialist with over 5 years of experience driving business growth through strategic and data-driven marketing campaigns across multiple digital channels. He has a proven track record of developing and executing successful growth strategies with an over 90% success rate. Throughout his career, he has worked with various clients across various industries, including healthcare, technology, e-commerce, and non-governmental organizations. He is highly skilled in a wide range of growth marketing tactics, including social media marketing, search engine optimization, SEO, pay-per-click advertising, PPC, conversation rates optimization, that's CRO, email marketing, and content marketing. In addition to his technical expertise, Mr. Daniel is a creative thinker who is always looking for innovative ways to drive business growth and increase revenue. He is an excellent communicator and collaborator, working closely with cross-functional teams to achieve common goals. Overall, Mr. Daniel is a founder of Digital Market Square, a digital marketing agency that has worked with over 200 businesses and organizations to transform their online presence and reach their business goal. Mr. Daniel, you are up, sir. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Confirm if you can hear me, please.
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you clearly, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. I have to just put on my camera to ensure that everyone can see my face, right? I wish I could see everyone's face so that we don't keep talking in, that ATAAOJD thing. All right. So thank you very much, Joshua. An amazing voice you have. I mean, I would recommend you for a presenter role. But and thank you to the organizers. And I'm glad to be here today, to be honest, to be very honest. Yes, I am. And one of the reasons I'm glad to be here today is because having to see the I was literally there when the conception of Tasued chapter YALI network OGUN was coming into fruition. And I'm so happy to see that yes, it's currently fully running. And I remember when Ruby was trying to make sure that Tasued chapter, there's FNAF chapter, and they were trying to like penetrate into other institutions. So I'm glad to be here and I'm happy to be here. So I must first of all say a big thank you to Ruby and a big thank you to Abdulatif, and then as well to my current coordinator, Taiwo. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. And yeah, thank you so much. So one thing I'm even also excited about is that I finished from Tasued and having the opportunity to also put in one or two informations here, I mean, to help Tasued student as much as possible is one thing I'm excited to be. I could remember sometimes last year, I was in the school campus itself, to train some people on some digital skills for like 12 weeks thereabouts, and this is another opportunity again. So for every opportunity, I'm always glad to be here, right? So thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, my name still remains Daniel Adiola. I love to call myself Adiola Daniel Oluwasegun Patapata Korogodo Tirekole. I mean, that name did not just come like that. It's just as a means of, trying to ensure that it sticks into people's brain. Like, who is this guy that has the longest name, right? Thank you very much once again. So let's quickly dive right into the order of the day, right? And so before me today, I was given to talk about, workplace skills for students. And to be very honest, when I got to hear this, I was like, you guys hear a lot about my personal stories, right? I finished from TASO 2018, so it was easy for me to like, I think I've gained a bit of experience in the job market to some extent. That's about 6 years now. It's not smart, and I can literally tell you that, okay, yes, there is need for workplace skills, to be very honest. Workplace, I don't need to start defining what workplace is, right? Everybody is a place where people are working. It could be that remote, hybrid, or full setting, but what are those skills you need? It's not just about whatsoever thing you've been taught or whatsoever thing you've learned, but there are some other soft skills you need to put into place, right? And the truth is, this particular program is literally, one thing I would say, I would like to call it a foundational success for building a career path, especially for students or for those that are just graduated, right? I mean, it's literally something that has to be that, it's a core need for every person. And I'll tell you why it is like that. Because I've also passed through this phase. I've had my own challenges in this phase and I've learned some things, and I'm definitely going to be able to share some highlights into what I've gone through and the solutions I've been able to, come up with, right? So, but before we even continue, I would love to ask. It's okay to unmute your mic if you want to answer my question. Just indicate in the chat, and then the host or co-host can also help me unmute your mic so that you can, talk. So I have a question to ask us, and I would want to hear everybody. Thank God we are not much on this call. So I'll make sure that it is as interactive as possible and practical as possible, right? What do you think is the most important skill employers are looking for in, be it students, be it graduates? What do you think is the most important skills employers are looking for? So let me throw it to the house. Somebody want to answer that? What do you think is the most important skills? Don't worry, you can just say anything. There's no wrong or right answer to this. So you just tell me, what do you think is the most important skills employers are looking for? Yeah. So let me throw it to the house. Okay. Who is talking? Who is talking? Take it away. I had to just put, I had to go the traditional way. Who is talking? Should I call him? Look, I think I would like to call him. And I would like to start with Damilola. Damilola, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, awesome. Please, I would love to hear from you. What do you think is the most important skill that employers are looking for?
I think the management skill, how
Managerial
that
skill.
person to manage those tasks given to
Okay. Yeah, well said. Trust me. Yes, that's correct. I saw the MDA. Sorry, please. So I might call your demo. I just wanted to make sure that this particular session is very much interactive, that we are able to pick something out of it. One thing I love most is that I do not like a very crowded place because I feel like it's not always easy for everyone to pick something from it. But once we are small, it's always a big win for me. Okay, so the MDA, what do you think? The MDA, can you unmute your mic? Oh, thank you very much, Latif. Communication. Yes, communication is as well very important. Okay. The MDA, I'd love to hear from you. So while we are waiting for the MDA, I would also like to call ITEL A665L. ITEL. Okay, critical thinking and problem solving skill. Very correct, Joshua. You are very right on track. Okay. All right. I think the MDA and the ITEL person is not trying to talk now. But then irrespective, everyone has said it correctly, to be very honest. You all got it right? And one of the few things you need is what you guys have mentioned. But it's not just only that. There are a couple of things that are needed, right? And that is why we're going to be talking about quite a number of points I have highlighted today, right? I've highlighted a couple of things that I feel like it's not like I feel, it is a fundamental need for every person to thrive in a workplace setting. All right. I currently run a company, a marketing agency, and I have a couple of team members that works with me. And then, there was a day I had to tell them that, guys, you cannot be giving me this. So I have to build a structure. I have to give them the work ethics. I have to do this and that, and here and there. And then everybody was able to sit tight. So I wish some of them really didn't get to know some of these things, right? And then they came in. And eventually I realized that, okay, they were lacking in some. I mean, I had a work retreat with them last year. That was just a couple of weeks ago. And then I had to bring all of them all together. I had to even call some people to come and train them. But I had them trained on time management. I had them trained on a couple of other things that I feel like they needed to thrive in the workplace environment. And glory be to God. YALI Network OGUN, the Tasued chapter decided to bring something amazing for you guys to ensure that you learn from it. Okay. So let's go to it. Why does workplace skills matter? Why does it matter? Right? Why does it matter? Number one, it matters because it will help you to bridge that gap between what you've learned in school, right, and what you are bringing in the professional world, so that you're able to, there's something we call professional expectation. Even when you studied computer science, after you study computer science, you realize that by the time you get into the job market and you apply for a computer science role and you start fidgeting, like it looks like you don't know what you want to do, right? But one of the few things that the workplace skills is going to help you do right now is to ensure that you are able to bridge that gap between what you've learned in school, that's your academic knowledge, and the professional expectation. Okay. And number two is actually to improve your employability skill. I'll give you a back-end story. I work with an international company, yeah. And then I was going to I just say particular job role online, and I'm like, okay, let me apply for this job. And immediately I just pick up that job. And I just told my guy, one of my guy works in that company. And I said, guy, Mori Kidi can apply. Right. And then the next thing he said was, guy, why do you want to apply again? Those people that are I've already applied will not get the job because I know you will get this job. I know because number one, you have the skills, you have the communication skill, you have every other thing to prove to them that yes, I can do this job. And lo and behold, The interview was like just a class, and before you know, I just started hearing, "I want you to work with us because we feel like we need you," blah blah blah, and then we just negotiated salary, and then that was how I started working with them, right? And why is this possible? It's because I've built a workplace ethic, right? I've built a workplace skills to allow me to give me that opportunity to make myself employable to any person that is recruiting, and that's one thing the workplace skills will help you do. Then finally, that I'll mention is it will help you build confidence. Yes, confidence. I can tell you very well that while I was on campus back then, I have questions in class. Okay, let me just quickly mention, I studied EDM and my teaching course was political science. So, and while I was on campus, right, I did well on campus. I graduated with a 2-1, right? And I would have questions in class, and I won't be able to raise up my hand just because I had this fear in me. I wasn't confident enough, right? I had this, like, I fidget a lot, to be very honest, right? But one thing that this skill will help you do is to ensure that you are confident in yourself. Like, once you know that, yes, you can crush this, you can do this, you can do this, you have this skill here and there, the confidence is always there. So once you are getting into an interview session, you know you will get this job by default because you know you have the capability, you have everything it takes for them to get you. I won't like to target, I would like to say you should also be overconfident, because sometimes in the place of being overconfident, you can literally just miss a step, right? Just be as confident as possible and be expressive as much as you can. That's just a simple truth. All right. So these are one of the 3 things I highlighted why this workplace skill matters. Number 1, to bridge the gap between academic knowledge and professional expectation. Number 2 is to build confidence. All right. Number 3 is actually to improve your employability opportunity, right? So now let's talk about it. So what are the top workplace skills employers value? I remember that I got my first job in my 400 level in Tasued. My first remote role. I've never done, okay, I've never done a physical office before. Mostly all my job roles, I've always been remote. I've worked with a couple of companies, couple of international companies as well, right? And my first job I would ever get was when I was in 400 level in Tasued. And I could remember the first time I was just applying, like I was scared. I have learned this skill. All right. Don't forget that I studied educational management, but then I dived into digital marketing now. So I've gotten into that place of growth marketing, right? And I studied, I learned, I paid for courses in digital marketing. But then when it was time for me to start applying for a job, and I applied for my first job in 400 level, I was scared. I mean, I applied for jobs. I was just not getting it. Number 1, because I was losing confidence in myself. I couldn't articulate my words together, right? I couldn't communicate properly. I couldn't communicate what I have learned, what I have known, right? So I had that fear within me, and eventually I lost. But in between, I grew, and I got my first job, 400 level. And one of the few things that got me that job, and that is why I said the top workplace skills that employers are looking for is your hard skill. Hard skill. And when I say hard skill, I'm talking about your technical proficiency. So take, for instance, if you're a digital marketer, show more share data. If you call yourself a digital marketer, can you do it if you call yourself a web developer, can you do it? How many websites have you done? All right. If you call yourself what do I call it again? Name that skill, cybersecurity expert. Can you do it well? So if you can do it well, it means that you definitely know how to handle some tools that relates to what you do. So take, for instance, if they ask me, being a digital marketer, if they ask me, what can you do? I said, okay, I can work with Meta very much because I've done a couple of things on Meta platforms. I work with Google Analytics. I can do this and that. I start mentioning, okay, how do we do this? Then you've worked with those tools. So which means that you've learned. See, that hard skill is very, very important. So it's not that you use your mouth to say you can do it, and when they not give you the task, you're unable to do it. Learn, study, practicalize, even if it takes you to use your own personal resource to get yourself that what will I call it? That experience. So take, for instance, I'll give you an example. One of the few things I did when I studied before I got into the job market, right, was that after I had learned, what I did was to do, so I called some of my friends that are doing, you know that, of course, we have friends in school that do businesses and all of that. So I called them that far. I can help you run advertisement. I can help you do designs. I can help you do this. Take cyber shit. Just give me 500 naira. And that was it. Right? And that was it. Let me know if you are together, guys. Are we together? Hello, everyone. Let me be sure you are together. Are we together? All right. Thank you very much, Joshua. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I saw your message, Taiwo. Okay. So, like I was saying, so what I did was just in order for me to be able to, I can be sure of myself. You know, there's a difference between you learning. Thank God for Tasued that gave us the opportunity to do teaching practice. You can imagine even after finishing from school and you never had the opportunity to do teaching practice, you just went into school and started teaching. Just imagine how we must have messed up ourselves, even when some of us must have had that what will I call it? That natural skill within us to teach, right? But you can imagine some people who does not have that natural skill, who has not gone through that practical side of it. They've only learned the theoretical part where they learned the note writing and everything, but they've not practicalized, go to the front of the class and teach, right? So thank God for that has given us that 6 months teaching practice. I don't know if it's still 6 months, that 6 months teaching practice for us to go out there, go and learn, then we can be very much confident so that once we are done and we are trying to apply to schools to teach, then you can do it because you know you've done it before. You've had that experience, right? So in that place of you trying to build experience or trying to build portfolio for yourself, you can do free jobs. Free jobs, it might look like free job that you're not getting money now, but at the end of the day, trust me, it is always sweet. I did a lot of free jobs, and I'll tell you with full chest, a lot of free jobs, and I'm still doing free jobs, despite the fact that I've grown. I've grown my level of experience as much as possible. I don't think I try to think of which industry I've not worked in when it comes to digital marketing. I've worked with quite a number of industries, almost every industry at the end of the day. Right, I've grown, but then before that level, I was able to do a lot of free job, build my hard skill as much as possible so that I can now go out there to say, okay, yes, I have done this, I have done that here and there. And one of the top skills that employers are looking for is that hard skill. All right. Second is the soft skill. And one of the soft skill is where a lot of people are lacking. Right. I could tell you that in one of my interviews, the last interview I had with a particular company in Canada, the interview turned to a lecture class. That's to be very honest, the interview turned to a lecture class. So they started, to the extent that they started bringing questions from those people they've interviewed before to ask me that, what do you think? We interviewed someone, they already forgot that they were interviewing me. They said they interviewed someone and they were asking me, I interviewed this person and this person said this and that. What do you think? And I said, okay, yes, actually this person is right, but then there's need to add this and that here and there. It's just as simple as possible. What did I do there? I was able to communicate. So I was able to communicate extensively. That place of communication, very important. Very, very, very important. Being able to articulate yourself. And one of the ways you can actually articulate yourself is when you've gotten yourself acquainted with everything revolving around the skills you are trying to get. That skills you are trying to get job with. You've gotten yourself acquainted. Take for instance, what is that key terms they want to give me in digital marketing that I will say I don't know? Even if they wake me up in this and say, Segun, what is CRO? Daniel, what is this? What is PPC? I will definitely answer. Daniel, we have a problem here. What do you think could be the solutions? We have an advertising issue. What do you think should be our target audience? I will definitely answer because I've worked almost 6 years of my life in digital marketing, right? So I'm able to communicate extensively. I'm able to talk very much because I've gained a lot of experience. So that place of communication is very important. Very, very important. All right. That place of communication is what? Very, very important. And one thing I would say is that when you are trying to communicate, ensure that you are clear and concise. When I say clear, straight to the point. What is the solution to this thing? Give them the solution. Don't start parabolating. I used to remember back then when I was on campus, and then of course, you always have the the ITK in classes, right? And then when the lecturer asks us questions in exam hall, and the lecturer just tries to tell us lists, They said list though. My guys will write the definition of what they are trying to tell us to list. After listing, they will now list the answer. After listing the answer, they will now pick each point and start explaining. Are they wrong? I would say they are not wrong. It's just that they are not being clear and straight to the point. Lecturer has just asked you a question to list. I think they say list and explain, then you list and explain. If they say you know, depending on the word, just ensuring that once you are communicating to something or you are communicating about something, ensure to be very much clear and concise, be it in words and be it in written communication. So take for instance, I could remember before I could ace my interviews skill to some extent, I used to do practice. Like I would do practice. I would go on Google and I will ask Google some questions that what are the likely questions they're going to ask me? And when I see those questions and I start doing it, in fact, it got to a point. Let me shock you guys. It got to a point. I will write out a likable question I'll be asked in a book because I like I said, I used to fidget, right? I mean, sometimes when I look back, I'll be like, Shegun, you've grown. Yes, I have grown. It means that I can never ask a question in class. I cannot talk to my mate like departmental mates. It's just my kind of person, right? I just don't know how to communicate. I feel like I might make a mistake and I'll be laughed up. I'll be made jest of, right? You know, a lot of things like that. I'll call it inferiority complex. So I had that in me. So one of the few things I did to overcome was that, okay, I know I'll be asked this particular question. So what I did was just to write out the question and write out. I'm very good with my writing. My writing skill is top notch, so I can write. So I'll write it out. So when I'm not being asked that question, I'll just raise it like this and I'll start reading it. That was how I was able to overcome my speaking skill, right? I write it out. I articulate every way I want to write it, and then I put it down in book. But then gradually I started learning, okay, if they ask me this, so I shouldn't be scared. I can just say it because I've written it out, I've studied it. In as much as, yes, I wrote it myself, right? But then when it comes to talking about it, you start getting scared. So I did a lot of practice in my by myself in my own house, right? Like I said, how do you ensure that you are able to communicate effectively, which is one of the soft skills that you need in a workplace, is actually to ensure that you are clear and concise, be it verbal or written communication. Number two, under communication, is that be an active listener. Yes, be an active listener. A lot of us get what will I call it? Get distracted easily just at a glance, right? You just get distracted. Your mind is already thinking of one bar that you want to eat when you get home. So be an active listener. Like try as much as possible to focus and listen, because there's something we used to call paying attention to detail. You see, in that paying attention to detail is where you get a lot of things you need, right? So in a workplace, take for instance, your boss just says, okay, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, and then you're only listening. Eventually you're unable to deliver what you are being asked, or better still, you didn't listen properly, right? And then when you're now delivering your job, you did the exact opposite. So you need to be an active listener and be open to constructive feedback. I mean, be open to feedback, and when you are giving feedback, to be constructive as much as possible. One of the few things I like to do is I don't tell people they are wrong. In fact, I appreciate what their thoughts, and I'll just say, in my opinion, I feel like this is it. Constructive feedback is very important. See, I've worked in a very much toxic environment. I worked with an international company, a fintech company in Canada one time, right? And I resigned after 3 months because number one, it was quite a toxic environment, right? And of course, we had almost all of us are Nigerians. I think the person who is like the head is a Nigerian, and then they know that having to recruit Nigerians would cost them less, right? So they just brought in Nigerians to work and all of that. So we all did remote roles, right? And I had to leave there because number one, the feedbacks are always demeaning, irrespective, right? Especially, in fact, literally before I leave there, we were 5 in the marketing department, and first month that I got in, 4 of them resigned. So I was the only person in the marketing department. So after like working 2 months, I had to resign because number one, the workload was all on me in the marketing. So, right, one of the few things I realized they didn't do well there was the fact that they couldn't give feedback constructively. And the same thing should apply you being an employee. We are trying to give feedback, be as constructive as possible, right? And also, last thing when it comes to communication is try as much as possible to adapt to different communication style. Yes, one of the few, me, I like playing a lot. I like doing a lot of practical exam. I like giving a lot of practical examples. And one of the few ways I like to do that is because I feel like a lot of people tend to resonate more with story, right? But in some certain situation, right, I use a particular different type of communication, right? Take for example, I'm talking to my team. I don't like to call them my staff. So I'm talking to my team. I just tell them, this is what I want you guys to do this, and I just leave. Right. But if I'm talking to a particular set of people, maybe in the NGO field, I try to just persuade, I use some persuasive method to communicate to them. So try to learn and adapt to different communication style, because you can't use the same communication style for everybody. I got to learn that it's only in the Nigerian workplace that you will actually be in an interview and you'll be sweating from head to toe. My first time I did an international interview, and the person interviewing me was from Belgium. I can't forget, because it's the one experience I've had that I've always enjoyed, having to go through interview with some of these international gigs. Once you're doing that interview like this, they tell you to feel relaxed. In fact, you will not even feel like you are doing an interview, and eventually they get every information they want to get at the end of the day, right? So try to what am I trying to bring out here is that ensuring that you adapt to different communication style for different audience, okay? And yeah, so then let's go into some other things that are very much important when it comes to workplace skills, okay? Is number one, teamwork and collaboration. See, I don't know how much I can emphasize on teamwork. I think Joshua was explaining something earlier that you can't do something like that. Mr. Ife said something yesterday that you can't do some things alone. Yes, you cannot. You definitely have to work with team, right? And working with team, it is impossible for you not to have conflict. I will tell you with my full chest, working with a team, it is impossible for you not to have conflict. So you need to learn some conflict resolution techniques. And that is when I talked about the way you give your feedbacks. You have to be very much constructive as possible, because you're working with different persons. So you need to learn how to build rapport with different teams. Learn how to build rapport with different people. Are we together? Are we together, guys? Are we together? Are we together? Let me ensure that we are together. I've mentioned I've mentioned three most important things that are very needed in the workplace that you need as a skill. Who can remember? Work. Thank you. Okay. Art skill. Thank you very much, Latif. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Yeah, soft skills. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Just a minute, I'm trying to decline a call that is coming.
Okay, finally it has dropped. All right, so let us continue. So I've made mention of art skills.
Those skills you need. Oh Lord. Those skills you need.
Okay, sorry, I just put it on vibration so it doesn't disturb us. Okay, so those skills I've mentioned, the art skills, and the art skill is that particular skill you are learning. Ensure that you are a, a thoughtful leader. I mean, someone who is well skilled. You have enough portfolio to say, okay, yes, I know this thing, right? And then under soft skill, I've made mention of communication, right? I've made mention of teamwork, all right? And the third thing I'm going to make mention of here is time management. I remember very well. I mean, I'll use my teammate as an example. They literally don't know how to manage their time. Take for instance, there was a time like that I worked with 5 different companies because I'm a remote person. So what I do is that I say, okay, I will do this company work from so time to so time, so time to so time. So I write it out. Like every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is to write it out. So I realized that a lot of people don't know how to manage their time. They don't know how to prioritize their tasks. They don't even know how to use some tools that can help them stay organized. And finally, they can procrastinate for I don't even know. They can procrastinate, eh? And one of the few things you need to know is that in order for you to be able to thrive in a workplace setting, you need to learn to avoid procrastination. And one of the few ways you can actually learn to avoid procrastination is actually listing out what you want to do. Sometimes
We're trying to procrastinate. Sometimes it's just that some of us just tend to forget. So by the time we forget to do it, when you now remember in the evening, I say, I don't remember to do this thing. No, I'll do it tomorrow. I don't remember to do this. I'll do it tomorrow. Before you know it, you have pushed what you're supposed to do since 1st of January. We've pushed it to like April 7, right? So one thing I would love to I would love you to imbibe when it comes to this time management thing is learning to use your pen, see, and book. And if you know that you are not a traditional person like me, ensure that you use what's the word? Somebody share me with her. All right. Ensure that you use some tool. Take for instance, I have an app on my phone that like a to-do list app. It gives me notification and I put a time frame to it. Just with that, I need to do this particular thing. I list them out. What I want to do. I list it out in full, like this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do for today. And once by the end of the night, I go back to that app and I say, okay, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. I did not do this. Shego, you cannot sleep, but you stand up and go and do this. That's one thing that helped me. So being able to manage your time is very, very important, and learning to prioritize each task. Take for instance, I will prioritize my employer's job before my DMS. All I will just do with my DMS is just ensure that my team members are doing their work. Just follow up on them. And most likely the last thing I will do at the end of the day. Because I know that these people will collect my money from them, they will pay me. And at the same time, DMS clients are also there, which I've employed some people to do, right? So being able to manage your time is very important. All right. So ensure that you can use your calendar, put it on your calendar, reminder, this is so. Take for instance, when I got reached out to about this particular thing, what I did was to set a reminder to 4:30. 4:30, remind me, I have a session to take with YALI. And once my guy here can tell you that I was already in the meeting called 10 minutes before the time, right? In fact, I was already preparing my PC, my laptop, my phone, and trying to join in and all of that before the time came, so I can be well prepared. All right. So that time management thing is very important. Learning to actually write out what you want to do for the day to avoid you losing out on what you are supposed to do. It is very important. So the same thing applies when you're at work. They will give you tasks to do. Pen them out. And there are some tasks that are very much on priority, especially if you are working within the fintech industry, when you are supposed to send a notification, an in-app notification, you're supposed to do some things, and you now go and miss the time. You will collect query at work. So learn to write out, learn to use some tools that will remind you. Alarm is a tool that can remind you. Calendars are tools that can remind you. All right. And but before I continue, actually, I would also like to ask a particular question, because I have to put it out there. I had a lot of questions that I laid out that I said everyone needs to I get to ask people, what is your biggest time management struggle? Because I realized that a lot of people tend not to be able to manage their time. So I would like to ask someone here, what is your biggest time management struggle? I mean, I must have mentioned it. It's okay for you to mention it again. And after mentioning it, you definitely be able to pick your solution from it. But I just want to hear from someone that, okay, that time management struggle, what is that biggest thing that you struggle with? Okay. But while you're doing that, while you're trying to articulate your words together, I would like to mention the last thing that I have here on my notes is the problem solving skill. One thing I don't like to hear, especially when I give my guys some tasks, they tell me that I cannot do it. I don't know how to do it. And it's revolving around your role. Then I'll tell you you're not ready. There's nothing like I cannot do it in my dictionary. Yes. So it's a problem solving skill. So when you're being given something that you probably have not done before, but is within your field, I don't say I cannot do it. Thank God we have schools online. Like there's a free school that we have online that people don't even utilize, which is the YouTube. Go on YouTube and, check, and then you get it done. All right. So you need to have some problem solving skills that you are able to solve problems. So even when there's an issue, you just go out there, search, how do I solve this particular problem? The solutions are out there waiting for you. Okay. All right. And finally, I would like to end this particular session with these few words, especially when it comes into the place of workplace skill development. Because even as a student, I'm very sure that this particular session is targeted towards students. And I was once a student before, and even I got my first job while I was still in my final year on campus, right? It means that anyone who is a student can actually also get jobs even before they finish school and start earning very much, right? So one of the few things I feel like you need as a student when it comes to you acing that workplace environment, ensuring that you have that top-notch skill is actually to seek internship. A lot of time I realize that this our generation or the generation after me literally are money driven. So you realize that someone who has not even done anything before, who does not have anything, just wants to, earn without having a portfolio. So I realized that a lot of people tend to forget that you need to actually build portfolio before people can actually ask you, what have you done? Let us see what you've done. And if you cannot bring anything, eventually you don't have anything to offer. You end up not being employed. So one of the few which I mentioned at the beginning of this class is that learn to seek internship, learn to volunteer. That volunteer is not even a small thing. I volunteered in YALI, and before you knew, I grew and I became the 2024 Media and Communication Manager, right? That we just handed over to this new regime that we have, right? Learn to volunteer, learn to seek internship. It does not necessarily have to be a paid one, right? Learn to volunteer. And at the end of the day, participate as much as possible in courses as much as you can, right? And finally, ask for feedback. Ask for feedback. It is very important. See, sometimes your feedback might be hurtful, but then act on it because it is something that would help you, grow and, ensure that you are one of your best when it comes to the workplace environment. So it is very important that every one of us here have a best life. And one of the few things you can actually do is actually to have that workplace skill that can help you that can make you being employable and ensure that, you are the center front of your career success. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Yali. I don't know if anybody has questions, then I'll be open to, answer them.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Questions will come in when the time is right, sir. Thank you so very much for the teaching. Thank you, Mr. Adiola, for such an empowering session. Your insights have given us practical steps to thrive in the workplace. Thank you so very much, sir. So
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. So a quick one, yeah. Next we have our trustee addressed from a distinguished guest, Dr. Ishola Adebayo, a lecturer in the Department of Educational Technology. Dr. Adebayo will be sharing words of wisdom with us. Dr. Adebayo, over to you, sir. Are you there, sir?
Okay, all right. So I'm here. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for the great work moderating the session. Also to Mr. Abdulateef Adideji, our team lead, or probably we say our outgoing team lead, if that's the correct word to use. Well done. Just also to appreciate the very last speaker when I joined in, that's Mr. Deola Daniel. Awesome teaching, and then thank you for doing this with us, not minding the turnout of participants for the virtual session. I'm actually very much delighted, and every other member. I see Toby Loba, that should be the team lead for YALI OGUN, and then for every other member of the team that are on the call, and also the participant, and then so also other speakers too. Don't let me take too much of your time with the greetings. I have somebody, and I want to, the learnings that Daniel did shared resonate with Daniel Adiola shared, resonate with me very well. And I have someone on this call, interestingly. Monica, can you unmute your microphone? I want to ask, what's your CGPA? Monica, if you can hear me, what's your CGPA now?
It's 3.82, sir.
Oh, okay, all right. Please, you can mute your microphone back. I'm going to put the respondent on the line. And I'm sorry if I want to put you on the spot now. Monica, she's one of the top students in my department right now. I'll keep the level to myself, and I only just shared the link for this meeting with her in just about 30 minutes or thereabouts while this call was ongoing. And why did I do that? It resonated with what Daniel shared just now. Monica, out of the blues, reached out to me in just about an hour ago that this 2024, that she wants to volunteer and work with me as an office assistant. I never even thought about that when I was envisioning my vision board for 2025, that do I need an office assistant? As a student, that was quite thoughtful and emotional for me. I don't know. We have other lecturers in the department that she didn't reach out to. I was saying anything at all that whatever it is that I want to do in the office, she's ready to support and assist. So that's quite thoughtful. And that this is not just a backbencher this is one of the top students in our level, in my department. So I'm just trying to share my so it's being practical, it's being put into practice, the knowledge in the immediate, and then telling us that feedbacks are here already from all of the teachers, that this call is not just a waste of time, it's not just for the fun of it. There is impact that is to be driven from sessions like this, and I just want to charge the team lead and the rest of the coordinating ESCO to keep doing this more. As much as the environment that we're, a lot of our students will not want to get on board with virtual sessions like the webinar, data, electricity, power issue and all. But even if it is physical, I just want to encourage you that even if it is one life that will be taught, I think we need to do more of this. And well done. I was actually at a public event. If you can be hearing sound, I'm unable to turn on my video. Apologies. I had to go and use the car park so that I can join this call. So one of our old man is doing his 70th birthday today. So we needed to come support and marry with him. So I think I need to round up with that. I wish the team the very best this new year, and congratulations to all of you. Well done. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you for the sacrifice. Thank you for the thoughtful address. Thank you so very much for the insights and invaluable. They are truly invaluable. Thank you so very much, sir, for sacrificing your time for us. Thank you, sir. Yeah, so on to the next. Up next, we'll hear about how you can join YALI Network OGUN Tasued chapter and the membership requirements. This session will be handled by Mr. Awunuga Damilola, the General Secretary of YALI Network OGUN. Mr. Damilola, over to you, sir. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir. Can hear you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm thanking the speaker for the presentation. So concerning joining OGUN, YALI OGUN Network, or under what's it called, joining Tasued. But you should know that this particular organization is under YALI OGUN Network, and it's operating in the school. Likewise, that it's operating in other schools as well. So like we have the likes of FUNAB, and while other school is ongoing, the process. So the first thing before you will become a member of YALI Tasued, there is process you need to follow, and the first process is that there is a particular group you need to join, which is the onboarding group. So you should know that by joining this group is for you to get some vital information on those processes you need to do. And the first thing is that you need to know much about the organization you want to join. In this particular era we are now, there are different organizations, so that it won't be a mistake joining the wrong organization. So even if someone asks you that, I know you are part of social organization, you should be able to say one or two things about that organization. That's why we want you to first do what? To check through the website of our organization to know more about the organization. And I know during the introduction, yesterday, the introduction have been done about the organization and our activities as well. So that's the first step I said is that for you to visit our website to learn more about the organization. Then after doing that, there are some courses in that particular website. So various courses that you need to take. We have the like of entrepreneur, we have the likes of countering, disinformation, and the likes. There are so many types of courses we have there. So you should take at least 3 courses. And if you like, you can take more than that. So the reason why you are doing that course is for you to be engaged and for us to have your data in the website, what's it called? Database. By doing that course, at least your name will be what's it called? Note down. So that's the second step. And after you might have taken the at least 3 course, then the third one is that all the certificates, because when you are doing this course, at the end of the course, you'll be given certificates, so which you can download. So you have to upload that certificate into a particular Google Google form. So which if you are in the onboarded group, you have access to this. So I will have to copy the the group link to the chat box so that if you want to join, you can just click. And I will even note my number as well, so you can message me if there's any other notification. So I said the third step is what? To upload your certificates. So after doing that, then the fourth step, so we want you to be committed into this. So not just that, after doing the certificate, then there is financial commitment. So, and the financial commitment is a token of 1,500 naira. So after doing that, you make the payment. So we have to confirm if you make the payment. Then we will now wait for us to get back to you on when the onboarding is going to take place. I mean, you've been onboarded actually. So you have to wait for us when general onboarding will take place. Then you have to join at least 2 teams. So we have different teams in the technical team. In every administration, we have different programs we engage in. So for you to gain more experience about enhancing your skills, gaining more experience, so you just have to join 2 skills, which you can be very, very active. So after this, you have to wait for 2 months. But presently, soon I will get back to you on when the induction is going to take place virtually. So that is that about joining the the organization. So after doing this, then you get in touch with the team lead for Tasued. As a student of Tasued, to get yourself registered on some of those the procedure in which you have to go about those things. So you can get ablative in touch. But I know sooner now we are going to have another team lead, the new team lead. So we share the contact with you as well, so that any other thing you need, be able to communicate the new team lead. So for now, that is that about joining the organization.
All right. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you for your time, sir. Yeah, thank you for clearly outlining the steps to join this incredible network. We hope to see many people take the bold step to become part of YALI. And then our next session focuses on driving community impact. This will be facilitated by Ms. Tobiloba Sunday, a passionate leader in community development. Ms. Tobiloba Sunday is a learning experience manager and youth development advocate dedicated to bridging educational gaps in underserved communities. Over the years, Ms. Tobiloba has worked with youth-led organizations, beginning as a digital literacy instructor and empowering over 1,000 young learners with essential digital skills. This foundational experience has fueled Ms. Tobiloba's commitment to designing data-driven projects, prioritizing community-centered solutions and measurable impact. She's keen in preparing undergraduates and graduates for the future of work, organizing workshops and seminars on personal branding, crafting CV, tech bootcamp, LinkedIn optimization, among others. She currently works as a product slash project manager with Genesis 360, learning experience manager at students to make to change makers initiatives. Ms. Tobiloba is committed to creating inclusive educational experiences and grooming the next generation of change makers. Ms. Tobiloba, please take it from here, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello, good evening, ma. We can hear you, ma.
Okay, so I'm just
Okay,
going to
please,
put
sorry, ma.
on my
Before you
video for
go,
like, okay,
okay, you want to turn on your video, ma?
yeah, just for a few seconds because my network is not great, right? Hi, I can see myself now after like,
Okay. So please, before you go ahead, there's a part of the introduction that did not that did not capture you very well. Is that you see, our boss
okay,
lady that we have here, Mr. Glover Sunday, she's actually the should I call it? Yeah, she's the state coordinator of YALI Network OGUN this last year, this 2024. So you see the program that we're currently having in Tasued now, or every year, YALI in Tasued, the brain behind it, the person that actually take the lead. To be and you might be surprised or shocked to know that Yaliogo Tasus chapter is actually the first branch of Yali that is going to be in an institution in the whole of Nigeria. And this is the person that break the record. So if you're having this session today, everything started with our vision, everything started with her taking a chance, everything started with her driving community impact. And that's why she's the best person to actually speak on impacting communities or contributes to community development. So I just want to like add that. So anything she say, yeah, she's not just going to be telling us what she learned from book. It's something that she do on daily basis. So thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much for also accepting our invitation to be here. Thank you, ma.
thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. Kudos to the Tasued team. Yeah, I'm proud of you guys. I have to say that. And thank you for having me here. So I take too much time. So I'm just going to dive right into it. So my topic is community impact. Latif, please check your message on WhatsApp. I've been trying to download my
Okay, I'm on it.
screen. I would appreciate that. But while we wait for that, we'll continue the session. So my name is Tubiloba. Um, I'm a lady that loves community impact, community projects a lot. And aside the impact that you make, I think it comes with a sense of fulfillment when you do the right thing or when you impact life. So um, imagine working in an environment that, with the whole economy and all, imagine you go like on a Saturday to, share, let's say, clothes within community, and you would know that where you think that things are like hard, There's some people who needs it even more than you do. So it makes you, appreciate yourself and also appreciate life itself. So community impact and turning ideas into action for a better world. It took me a while to be able to like break down this topic. It's a lot, but let's take it a little by little, a step at a time. So I have here that I'm glad that you are part of this session. Daniel mentioned something that a lot of people want to like, yeah, always after the money. It's understandable. The economy is not friendly. And then you realize that when you're applying right, a very easy way for you to have experience is through community impact. Regardless, as a lawyer, as a medical doctor, regardless of any aspect, like any industry that you are in, you can volunteer, you can make impact. And that way, you're building yourself while building others. So I'm glad that you're here. And what would actually talk about is understanding community impact, how to turn ideas into action, how you can overcome challenges, and then key message, right? So I wrote here that as an individual, we have power to create positive change in our community. And you turning your ideas into action requires dedication, perseverance. That perseverance is massive, and collaboration. These three things, dedication. On that dedication, you can see commitment, showing up, consistency. I'll put it on the dedication. Then perseverance in the sense that there are times that things that you plant, like you already envision things in your head, but it won't turn out the way you want, right? How do you persevere? How do you mitigate? How do you keep showing up regardless of how things turn out? There are 1,000,001 problems in this world that need to be solved. And there are 1,000,001 solutions that can, like different approaches to these things. And if you are not doing it, yes, someone else might, but your little action could actually transform someone else's life. You could be breaking generational poverty because of that little action that you are taking. Now, there is a need for you to understand the sustainable development goals for you to take action in your community. You would see that there are like different type of NGOs, non-profit organization, different CSRs that are carried out within the community. And in like 1 year, 2 years, it's just not relevant to the community again, right? So there is a need for you to understand the sustainable development goals before you take action. And I also wrote it here. Think globally, but act locally. We have the global challenges, and that is covered within the sustainable development goals. And then you have to tailor it down to your immediate environment. The amazing thing about community impact is that we might identify the same problem in different locations, but it requires different approaches. I'll cite an example. Yeah, when I was serving, I served in Sokoto, and when I got there, I was like, in my head, why are people doing things like this? Why is this one happening like this? Like, it's For me, it looks fascinating and surprising and shocked and everything all together. And I'm like, can't you see better? You ought to do things this way. And then I remember that in school, they taught us something about this behavioral communication. And there's the aspect of using opinion leaders, right? So let's say that there is this problem that we tried solving while we were there, right? We noticed that they bring a lot of sickle cell patients every week. At least we see 3, 4, and that is a lot, right? And we're like, what's going on? There is health center, there is general hospital, there is school of health. I was teaching in school of health, and what's going on? So we decided to um, find out, right, what's going on? Why are we having this much patients every week? I was not um, the organizer of that project, right? So what made me qualified for the project was that people were having discussion and I just keep listening like, oh, this is what I think about what you guys are saying. So the organizer, I didn't even know, we didn't know that we were going to carry out the project at that time. So he was talking to a couple of my friend about how things are in Sokoto, things like that. And I was like, I feel like the best way to solve the problem here is using the opinion leaders, right? In the Southwest, we can advocate, we can sensitize people. You can go to secondary schools to sensitize people. But here in Sokoto, that kind of approach might not be sustainable, right? We need the opinion leaders, train the opinion leaders, sensitize the opinion leaders, and then step it down to community members. They listen to their opinion leaders, and their opinion leaders can be, let's say, the religious leader, their traditional leaders, things like that. So when the project came up and then we started doing research, I did for the School of Health where I was teaching, he did for Primary Health Center, and then we realized that they don't even have the understanding of what sickle cell means. They call it yellow fever. They don't do genotype. So if we had said that, oh, there are a lot of people coming into the hospital and they are sickle cell, and then we sensitize their parents, we've not really solved the problem. We've not identified the root cause, right? So the root cause is ignorance. They had no idea. They had no idea, like they've not heard about it. And then we started engaging some people in the health sector, and then we realized so much. So it gave us an understanding of how to approach that. But if we were to do that in the Southwest, we might not need to go through all that. Yes, we'll still carry out research, but we might not need to start going to Ministry of Health, meeting the Director of Health, local government chairman, and all that. I hope we are all following. So we might, what I'm saying in essence is that we might identify the same problem in different locations, but they require different approaches. And that is why I said we should act locally. What is the significance of that problem that you've identified in that community, and how do you go about it? So there are 17 SDG goals, right? No poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, clean water. 17. And the 17th one is partnership for good. It is essential that any problem that you are solving now, I'm not limiting this to community impact alone. Any problem at all, as a business owner, as an educator, as a community impact champion or advocate, it must align with one or two of these SDG goals. As a business owner, if you want to get grants or apply for all these SME grants, investor, they want to be sure that you are solving a problem. So as an educator, I want to assume that most of us here are educators. You can work under quality education. And it does not even limit to just that. You can be, but I know that our deputy state coordinator for 2024 was working on that climate action. And he's also a student of Tasued. So the problem you're solving must align with one or two of these goals. But most importantly, the SDG 17 is partnership. You cannot do it alone. You have to work with people. You have to work with organizations. You have to connect, network, have more reach, have more impact. Don't do, oh, it's my goal. Oh, somebody else should not go. If someone else is stealing your idea, that means it's not concrete enough. And then even if they steal the idea, because you created the idea, you can bring in another one, right? So yeah, and I said your simple action had a ripple effect on many lives. That single action could be the beginning of someone else's transformation. So someone's life might depend on what you want to do, right? I'll give an example again. Let's say that Ijebode. You can get to a particular street in Ijebode. The problem you identify might be, let's say, climate action in crime. And you go to the next street and it's not the same problem that they are having. So you have to be cognizant of your environment. What's peculiar to your environment? And there are different ways that you can address various challenges. It could be education, you can improve the access, the quality, and the equity of education. Access in the sense that people can easily access quality education. Equity, everybody should have access to it. Equality, everybody should have access to education. It can come in the aspect of healthcare, right? You could come up with a way that could enhance service delivery, the awareness about something. It could be social media awareness, the accessibility. You can bring healthcare to people's doorstep. There are different innovation. Then you can come in the aspect of environment, the conservation, preserving our trees, the sustainability, climate action. And I always like one of my okay, I think during our strategic session last year, I was saying that everybody should even be involved in the environment because it's affecting everyone, right? Erosion, um, the weather, it's affecting everyone. So everyone should be involved in the aspect of climate action, social justice, human rights, inclusivity, things like that. And it could be economic development. Some of us that like business, decent work, right? Fostering growth, opportunity, things like that. We have like a lot of aspects for you to, come up with community impact. It might not be something so big. What you think that it's not big, that simple, like I said earlier, that simple action could go a long way, right? Okay, so the question now is, what are the challenges around you that you think you can solve? When you become cognizant of your environment, you begin to identify something, right? So, what are the challenges that you've identified, or what are the things that come to your mind? Write them because you work on it later. So I said that ideas are great. Ideas are beautiful to have, but ideas are nothing if you don't have fun. So the question is, how do we make our ideas work? How do we make it into something actionable, right? So the first thing that you want to do is you brainstorm. It is very essential. When I got the topic, I had to approach it, right, as a community impact person and then as a product manager, right? Because even in businesses, you want to create solutions. So these are like interwoven for me, right? You brainstorm as a business owner, you brainstorm. So in community impact, we brainstorm also. What are the challenges? What are the possible solutions? And that's where we usually do SWOT analysis. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And what are the threats? Right? So when you identify these things, brainstorming can be a day, it can be hard, it can take months. But when you identify your problem and something actionable can be done, you can start and then you modify. Don't wait for it to be perfect. There is no perfect idea anywhere. There's no perfect solution anywhere. We make mistakes, we learn from it, and we do better. That's the goal. You keep improving. The same way you would get to your app and they will tell you upgrade. So you upgrade your ideas, you upgrade your community impact. You've done it this year, you sit down, you evaluate what you've done. What can I do better? What are we not going to do next year? What are the um, better resources that we could have used, right? Then after brainstorming, you go to action planning, right? For action planning, this is where the main deal is. You're planning, you set the goals, your resources, your milestones, the timeline. You do all this under your action plan. It might not come easy if you've not been in this industry before, but the same way you plan yourself going to school, I want to do this. This is the first lecture that we have. We are having this at, I don't know your school very well. Even at Tasued, I've not been to Tasued before, right? So let's say you're having this session at a particular hall, and then the next session is in another hall. You're trying to think around it. How many minutes will it take me to run from this hall to the other hall, right? It's the same way you think about your project. Envision what you want your project to be like, and then you start planning. Break that big idea into a smaller action, into a smaller goal, and then you take your baby steps, right? Then ensure that you collaborate. That's the fourth thing. The first thing is to brainstorm. The second thing is actionable planning, action planning. The third thing is collaborate. You can't do it alone. As I said, no, you can't. You need people, you need resources, you need network. And if it is something that you're looking as a long-term thing, you need to collaborate, right? You engage stakeholders. So you can start your first planning without engaging major stakeholders. But as you grow, as you proceed, as you make more impact, you have to engage stakeholders because that is where the real change happens. So if you've gotten a way to make quality of education better and you've implemented this in like 5 schools and it is working great, you can take it to the stakeholders, engage them, you build network of people, you build partnership, and that is all under collaboration. Leverage on friends, leverage on people that you know. I tell people that the best recommendation that you can get that opens even the mighty of the mightiest door is, oh, go to that place and tell them that this person sent you, right? That is the greatest recommendation because that means that the person sending you can vouch for what you can do. They can vouch that you are good at what you are doing. So present value when you are doing your community impact and ensure that it is sustainable, right? Another approach, something I forgot to mention, is the best way to have a sustainable project or sustainable community impact is when you make the community owners of those solutions. I hope I'm talking to someone this evening. So if you go to a community and you feel like the parents should be involved in the education of their students and you all sit down, have the round table discussion, this is how you come in. That means that even when you leave that community, they can carry on with your innovation or your solution. So it is called community-centered approach to making impact. And the last thing on turning your ideas into action is perseverance, overcoming challenges, obstacles, staying motivated. You know, if it is to listen to some Maguire to perspire once in a while, um, reaching out to people, having mentors, um, also building yourself too is important, right? Going for fellowship, mentorship, please, you do that because all this would help you shaping and sharpen your ideas. And then you see that what you are finding difficult to do, you just do it seamlessly, seamless, easy peasy, right? Um, so on that brainstorming, I have here that you should write 5 to 10 challenges in your community or around you that you would like to solve. After listing those 5 to 10 challenges, you should write the root cause. Don't just provide solutions. Know the root cause of these challenges, and then write out the barriers that could hinder you from solving those problems. When you do this, you know the next step to take action. Say you know the barrier. This is what is going to stop me. I know that you stop me, but this is how you go around it, right? So now we are going to like creating a new world, right? So my question for you is if you can cast a spell right now to fix a particular problem, how would it look like? Like how would things look like? Right? That is me wanting you to envision the solution or the impact that you want to make. So if you can do abracadabra, right? How would things look like? So you will not list out the potential action that will get you to the finish line. And now as at this moment that you're starting out, I would like you to write things that are within your control, the resources within your control, your friends, your family, things that you can, gather together within your power that would make this possible. When you could like do this first step, trust me, moving up the ladder would be easier. Now, I would like you to take action, right? After this session, I would like you to create on your calendar a little, a very simple project plan. Just write something simple. I would like to solve this particular problem, right? Write it after this session, put it in your calendar. Let me give you a daily reminder. Then, after some time, set out a milestone on how you would like to solve those problems. So you would have like deadline for each between this time to this time. That is for planning. Then in that planning, you will now list out things that you want to do. I would like to mobilize steering committee, and then by this time, I would like to assign tasks to the steering committee. At this time, we'll do call for volunteer. At this time, we want to go to the community or the school that we want to do the project. So write it down, plan it. Implementation. During implementation, what do you want to do? Implementation / execution, right? What do you want to do? You write it down. And then you move to monitoring and evaluation. So when you do monitoring and evaluation is to make your ideas or your projects or what you've done better by the time you are doing it again. Another reason is that you learn from your mistake. Okay, I would wrap up now. You learn from your mistake, right? And then you, by the time you are implementing another project, it might not even be related. It gets better. So let me wrap up. How you overcome challenges is that you break down your big goals into smaller steps. That is like the number one approach. Sometimes our dreams are so big that it scares us, and then we stop taking action. So you break it down into smaller steps. And then another thing is finance, right? You can try to seek for grants, crowdfunding, sponsorship, use your network, and also build partnership and seek mentorship, right? And then I wrote here that you should get involved. You can tell your story from other people's stories, right? So the best way is for you to volunteer. Why, if you can't start your own community impact as that now, you can volunteer. I joined YALI, I joined Health Volunteers Nigeria, I joined Raise Up the Young, I joined organizations, and that really shaping my purpose for me, right? I moved from health into education, right? And I've loved every step of it. So volunteer, that would even give you more clarity. You donate your resources, your funds, and then you advocate, let people know what you stand for, right? And then you educate people. When you advocate, you're raising awareness. When you educate, right, you share knowledge about all these things. So thank you for joining the call this evening. Thank you, because I know that you'll be making difference in your community, and that in a way affects the state at large. I hope you've learned one or two things. Thank you for having me. I yield my mic now.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so very much, Miss Sunday, for your enlightening presentation. The strategies for driving community impacts are both inspiring and practical. Thank you so very much for your time, ma'am.
My pleasure.
So right now, in the next 5 minutes, we'll be having a quick session for questions and answers. So please raise your hands raise your virtual hands, I mean to say, or drop a question in the chat box. If you have any question, I'll call you to unmute your mic, or I will unmute you by myself. Oh my God. Thank you so very much, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Sunday, for the presentation. Thank you so very much, ma'am. So real quick, in the next 5 minutes, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Oh, thank God. So your strategies for driving community impact are both inspiring and practical. So thank you so very much, ma'am, for your time. So real quick, in the next 5 minutes, we have time for questions. Please raise your virtual hands or drop your questions in the chat box, and our speakers will be happy to answer your questions in the next 5 minutes. Please, let's do that real quick. Any questions? Please raise your hand or drop your questions in the chat box. I'm waiting. Does anybody have a question? Does anyone have a question? All right, I think there is none. All right. So as we conclude day 2, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our incredible speakers, both the ones that are present and the ones that have left the call. Participants, both present and the ones that have left the call, and the organizers, the YALI Network OGUN Tasued chapter. We've learned so much over these 2 days, and I hope you leave here inspired and ready to implement what you've learned. Let's continue to grow, lead, and create lasting community impact. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining this session. We hope that you have learned 1 or 2 things. Thank you. If you're interested in joining YALI Network OGUN, the Tasuedite, or whether you're a Tasuedite or not, we're going to be sending the messages on the group on how you're going to go about it. Thank you so much, everybody, for being part of this. Thank you, and have a fantastic day ahead. So, Joshua, thank you so much. And Mr.